The question of who's in the wheelbarrow has been a very popular topic in this community ever since the first season 3 trailer of From, and there's many possibilities about whose body is actually in there, but it may not be who you think it is. And since we got a new trailer like a week ago, let's use the new information and try to explain who's actually in the wheelbarrow. Sarah is someone who would make a lot of sense if she's the person in the wheelbarrow. We've seen how important her special abilities and connection with the Fromland is to the people living in this town, and how impactful she's been to us, the humans, getting more answers and a better understanding of what's going on in Fromland. In the first season 3 trailer, we see Boyd telling the person who's getting tortured that they're strong and giving them encouragement. That would make sense if it was Sarah, because we know she's been used by the voices to do horrible things, and Boyd would basically be telling her that she can make it through this situation as well. Killing Sarah would be a great choice by the monsters because it's a massive blow on their mission to finding answers about Fromland, so it's genuinely just a smart move that anybody who's fighting against this group of humans would want to make. So Sarah is a great choice because of that reason. Fatima is another strong possibility because in that first trailer, the monsters literally say that they want to break Boyd, that they want to shatter his resolve and destroy his mind. Because Fatima was pregnant at the end of season 2 and she's married to Boyd's son, it just makes absolutely perfect sense for the monsters to target her if they want to break Boyd. Because just think about it, if you're trying to break somebody's mind, going after their pregnant daughter-in-law, torturing her is an absolutely valid strategy. It's completely sick in the head, don't get me wrong, but that's exactly why it's so efficient for the monsters to do that. That type of trauma would be able to break anybody. But yeah, we know that Boyd is Mr. Unbreakable. Obviously it's not gonna work. I mean, this guy shot his own wife in the back and is still going strong multiple years later. Boyd is legitimately insane, which is why it's not gonna work. And if anything, it's just going to strengthen his resolve even more after he experiences that. But from a logical point of view, it's a very good action to take if you're trying to break somebody's mind. It just isn't going to work on Boyd. There's also the possibility that Fatima's child isn't actually human, and this all starts way back when we saw Elgin getting choked out in the bathtub. People were saying that this demon over here looked just like Fatima, and okay, I can kinda see it, so she's possibly not human. There's also people who think the baby himself is the one who will be born as a monster, and that the demons set up this entire scenario so that they could take the baby and raise it themselves, which is wild, but who knows? We still do not know where these monsters come from, so anything's possible. Tabitha was always at the top of the list when people started talking about the wheelbarrow. She's definitely the most obvious choice because her body might have just been outside the lighthouse this entire time after she got pushed by the boy in white. She's also genuinely close with both Jade and Victor, and Jade looked very serious when he was at the wheelbarrow, so it'd make sense why he looked that way if it was Tabitha. And Victor's relationship with Tabitha, I mean, that's self-explanatory. You also got the funeral scene where we see Ethan standing up. If it's his mom's funeral, that makes sense. It makes sense why he'd be so shook up by everything that's going on. And we also get this reaction scene from Julie in the trailer, which could definitely happen after they tell her that they found her mom's body. So there's some stuff in the trailers that definitely supports the idea that it was Tabitha's body in the wheelbarrow. But this also brings us to the next person, Julie, and this is a character that I never considered as being an option for the wheelbarrow, but once I saw the new trailer, I'm definitely coming around to this as a possibility, and really it's all because of the granny convincing Ethan to open the door. This entire scene could easily lead to Julie getting captured by the monsters, getting tortured, and then getting killed in front of Boyd by the monsters. Ethan looks very down and depressed depressed when Boyd approaches him in the trailer, and if he's the one who messed up by opening the door, which resulted in his own sister getting butchered like an animal, I really can't blame him for being so depressed. They also made this Instagram post with the tagline, "Innocence cannot survive here," and Ethan losing his sister and his mom at the same time, especially if this happens while Jim is out in the woods, that would be a devastating blow and would definitely send him into the pits of depression. Kenny's mom is someone a lot of us have been expecting to be more relevant than she is for a while. Those theories of her being the reason why the people of this town are so dumb because she poisons the food or drugs the water supply are some of the best theories in the community, and I absolutely love them. But if we're looking at this only from what we've been shown, Tian Chen is a fundamental pillar of From Town. There's always a space for understanding, a warm bed, and a plate of food for whoever comes to her door. She's the ultimate representation of femininity and motherhood. And those things that make her such a lovable person are the very things that would make her such a good target for the monsters. Because killing her serves the same purpose as killing Father Cartwright. It destabilizes the people, causing further anxiety, which of course causes more fear in the community. Jade is obviously close with her, so his reactions would make sense. Boyd's desperate pleas to assure her as she's being tortured make sense, and Kenny's angry reaction in the trailer if she was killed would also make 100% sense because that's his mom. Of course it makes sense. He lost his dad in the first season and now he's lost his mom too. And remember, all this is happening after he's lost any potential of a romance with Christy. If Kenny's mom dies, his mind is genuinely going to be hanging on a thread, and I can see why people speculate Kenny will be the cause of the next massacre, just like it seems Christopher caused what happened in Victor's flashback. And maybe breaking Kenny's mind was the reason they brought Marielle into town to begin with, because if he loses everything, it's a lot easier for the voices to convince Kenny to take everybody out, just like it seems they convinced Christopher to do it in Victor's flashback. So Tian Chen is a very good option, but there's someone who's so much better to kill. Christy being the person in the wheelbarrow would be a literal death blow for the people living in this godforsaken farmland. And before you say, oh, I'm just exaggerating, let me remind you of something about Christy, my friend. She is the only doctor in this community, and yeah, I know what you're gonna say, that she's technically just a medical student, but that's still a heck of a lot better than not having a doctor, period. The people on the island were very lucky to have Jack, who's an expert surgeon with decades of experience, and even then you still had people getting buried alive by accident. So Christie's contribution to the lives of the people living in this town is literally unmatched. Nobody here can do the things Christie can do. Nobody in this From Town has the same knowledge that she has. Purely from a skill-based perspective, she's the most valuable townsperson, and her death would be insane and do some serious damage to the people living in this town. Kenny's reaction scene from the trailer especially would make a lot of sense because she's the woman that he is in love with. Sure, he's never going to get a chance because her and Marielle are still a thing, but he still obviously loves her, so he'd be very heartbroken if she died. And genuinely, I would also be very scared if I was living in this situation if Christy died, because her utility literally cannot be understated. I'm telling you, she's genuinely one of the absolute best people you could ever target if you were trying to destroy this community. She's a very great choice for that reason. There's also this scene that I really want to talk about from the new trailer. In this scene, we see people having a funeral, which I'm assuming is for the person who was being dragged in the wheelbarrow, and the only relevant character who's a woman that I can clearly see in this scene are Donna and Tilly. I can't tell who the other women really are. You can also tell that Jim told Ethan to go pay his respects. So is that implying that the person in the wheelbarrow was Tabitha all along? Maybe so. But something else is that Kenny is clearly sitting at the front aisle in this funeral, but Boyd is also there. Boyd is also sitting in the front. That makes it more likely that it was either Christy or Tian Chen who got tortured and thrown into the wheelbarrow, because if it was Tabitha's body, I'd expect Jim, Ethan, and Julie to be the ones sitting in the front. But that's not what's happening here. Maybe it's actually Marielle who got killed, or could it be Ellis? And the female voice in the trailer was just a complete misdirection. I mean, that's a possibility, who knows? Because the voice we heard screaming in this moment, this voice has been confirmed to have been Kelly, and this is something that was discovered by Real Enigmas and Theories. So props to him for that, because it's absolutely crazy that he discovered this. It's absolutely insane.
You're so strong. Just... No, I know.
Someone also pointed out that when you look at this scene with the wheelbarrow, you can clearly see that the shoe seems to be way bigger than the actual foot, and that the reason for that could be that there's actually two people getting dragged in the wheelbarrow, and that definitely makes sense to me. It makes sense because you can clearly see that they are not the same size. They are not even close. But here's the truth. It's very, very difficult to say who's in the wheelbarrow, and clearly that was by design. There's a lot of very, very good choices for the monsters on who they should kill, from Sarah to Fatima, Julie, Tian Chen, or Christy. Especially Christy, she's very valuable, but then Sarah, she's also very valuable too. It's very hard to say for sure right now, so you tell me. I really want to know who you think is in the wheelbarrow, and if you even think that it's the same person who got tortured, or if they are two completely different people. But I can definitely say that season 3 has me very excited, and I'm very interested to see the things that Tabitha will discover in the real world, and I'm also just as curious to know about Eloise's fate. Right now, we still don't know if she's still alive, and even the old man's identity is still a mystery. So I'm very curious what happened to Eloise, because whatever's going on with her, and those crazy drawings that seemed to have been made by her, are definitely gonna be a huge plot point in season 3. So watch my video on my thoughts about everything we learned about Eloise in the season 3 trailer.